Hey everybody, Dan Ward here, and welcome to this Innovation Toolkit lightning round. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most popular and powerful tools in the Innovation Toolkit, the Lotus Blossom. The Lotus Blossom is an ideation tool that is designed to help teams quickly develop a larger quantity of higher quality ideas than traditional brainstorming alone. So instead of sitting around trying to come up with ideas in an unstructured way, the Lotus Blossom uses this 9x9 grid of colored squares to document a brainstorming discussion and to assemble everyone's ideas into a visual artifact that is organized, binned, and sorted. As you can see, the grid is divided into 3x3 subgrids. We call those blossoms, and they each have their own color. The individual squares that make up each blossom are referred to as petals. So we might direct the group's attention to the blue blossom in the upper left corner and ask about the middle petal on the left column. We're talking about this one here. Were you able to follow along when I said blue blossom, middle petal on the left side? Great. Okay, to use the Lotus Blossom, we begin in the very center, and we write the topic of our session here. Then, in the 8 petals that make up the central blossom, we write 8 facets or 8 ideas that are related to the central topic. Each petal from the central blossom then becomes the central petal for the blossoms around the edge, and the group then comes up with 8 ideas related to that thing. We find that the first 2 or 3 ideas that people come up with tend to be the obvious things, the front of mind things, while ideas 6, 7, and 8 tend to be more creative and imaginative. We also find that having these blank spaces creates a type of creative pressure. People want to fill in these boxes. They don't want to leave them blank. And so we stretch ourselves and we think of things we wouldn't have thought of otherwise because we kept going rather than stopping at 3. So let's do a quick example. Let's say we want to explore ideas around helping people get healthier. We might use a Lotus Blossom to scope out the problem, to understand and define it and narrow that problem, because helping people get healthier is super broad. If we want to use a Lotus Blossom to brainstorm around the problem of help people get healthier, we might develop a list of possible groups to focus on. They all might need different solutions to help them be healthier. So before we get into solutions, let's make sure we understand the problem. So we might talk about helping people get healthier as they age, or helping communities who have very limited resources, or helping military personnel recover from injury. You get the picture. We could come up with 8 possible groups and then use the rest of the Lotus Blossom to look at different aspects of each one. We might brainstorm about our expertise on each topic. Do we have experts on healthy aging? Or what about the scale of it? How big is this community? Where are they located? We might talk about the scope. How critical is the need? We might talk about who else is doing this work and might partner with us. And we'll keep exploring different facets of each potential problem area until we've got 8 ideas related to each one. Of course, we can add more and overflow beyond the original 8 boxes. You'll see an example of that in a moment. When it's done, we'll have a better understanding of the scope of the problem. Or maybe we already have a problem that's well framed. Let's say we're working to improve health in communities with very limited resources. In that case, we can use the Lotus Blossom to explore solutions. So here we might fill up the Lotus Blossom with things like diet, exercise, social support, medication, or the social determinants of health. And then we would copy diet, for example, into the middle of the upper left blossom and explore 8 ideas related to diet. So, for example, food deserts are a big problem. So maybe the solution includes increasing access to healthy foods. And maybe people also need better education about how to eat healthy. And then we fill in the rest of the Lotus Blossom with solution-oriented ideas around diet, exercise, and whatever else we came up with in that central blossom. When we're done, it might look something like this. For this particular case, we used a virtual whiteboard called Mural and did video using Microsoft Teams. We produced this colorful artifact that documents the discussion, and it captures everyone's inputs in a way that is organized and sorted. As you can see, several of the blossoms went well beyond the usual 8 topics. That often happens with a big group. And a few blossoms have some empty petals. That's okay too. We might refer back to this as a way to remember what we discussed, or we might use it in a conversation with someone who wasn't there that day to get them up to speed on what we came up with. Now, one technique I like to use is called the barriers blossom. I usually put it in the lower left-hand corner, and it's a place where people can write down all the things that get in the way of whatever the topic is. It's sort of a personal Lotus Blossom hack that I find useful. Okay, so that's the Lotus Blossom. You can learn more about it and download templates at the link on your screen. Good luck.